Hey guys, Dr. Cool here doing a video for you today on probably my #1 favorite topic to talk about, which is gut healing foods and protocols. So look, we work with a lot of different people in my health clinic here who have conditions that range anywhere from thyroid disorders to diabetes, autoimmune disease, GI problems, hormone imbalances and weight loss inability, pain conditions like neuropathy, and no matter who I'm working with, no matter who's sitting in front of me, the first steps we take in one of our programs is to heal the gut first. In fact, you may not know this, but the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, a lot of people know him for a famous quote that goes like this. It says, "Let medicine be thy food, and food be thy medicine." Well, that's really true. It's actually really important, and I 100% believe that. But he also said, all disease begins in your gut. And so, look, with our modern grocery, big agriculture age today, whatever you want to call it, we have become disconnected with some of these ancient probiotic, fermented, cultured foods. Those are all different names that mean the same thing, that heal our gut and restore balance to our body. So, look, if we went 100 years ago in summer before winter would hit, people used to have to culture or ferment, or they would have to jar their food to make it last through the winter. And what would happen when they did that is it would make the food start to produce a lot of good digestive enzymes and probiotic bacteria that we cannot replicate today simply by taking probiotic capsules. So, look, if you're taking one of those right now, you're not doing anything wrong. Most Americans probably could use a good probiotic supplement, and you're definitely on the right track if you're taking one of those. The issue is that a probiotic capsule falls far below the need that your gut actually has for its healthy bacteria requirements. So, just to give you a short example before we get into some of these foods here, the best probiotics on the market contain maybe about 500 billion organisms per capsule, or maybe per serving. That might sound like a ton, but your gut needs hundreds and hundreds of trillions of these bacteria. And they both sound like big numbers, billions, trillions. The difference between the two is astronomical though. If you need trillions and you're only getting billions, it would be like if you needed hundreds of millions and you were only getting thousands. That's literally the drop off between those two numbers still. So what we do when we return to these ancient probiotic foods, it gives your body uncountable numbers of bacteria and good diversity too that we cannot put into a capsule. Another good example, we know right now in science of over 2,000 different strains of bacteria that live inside your gut right now. If you look at the top probiotics in the market, they may contain 10, 12 different strains that we can actually put into a capsule that will make it through your stomach, through the small intestine, and get down to the colon where it needs to be. So again, those are a great start, but they don't begin to cover, they barely scratch the surface of what your gut actually needs. So today I'm going to cover some of the best probiotic and gut healing foods that I use in my clinic with my patients here, that I take myself. Now you can probably find these things too. If you're watching this right now in the Pittsburgh or Greensburg area, in Greensburg I go to Nature's Way to find all these foods here. On the other side of Pittsburgh, if you live in the South Hills or the North Hills area, you can go to Sunnybridge Whole Foods. And if you live near Whole Foods anywhere, just the Whole Foods store, you can go there too. But if you're watching this outside of state, look for a Whole Foods, look for a Trader Joe's, look for just your local health food store. They may carry some of these, and even some of the bigger, like in Pittsburgh here, we have a store called Giant Eagle. Even some of the bigger grocery stores, Kroger, Giant Eagle, are now starting to sell some of these things here too. So, let's start with this. There's a lot of probiotic foods we're going to talk about today, but there are two paths to healing your gut. The first step is we got to heal the gut lining. And so if you've heard of leaky gut before, that means that there's been damage to your gut wall. Something has inflamed your gut lining, usually dietary or toxin related. That's now, instead of trapping the toxins and passing them through your body with a bowel movement, now these things are crossing through your gut wall into your bloodstream where they're not supposed to be. And once they're there, they can now circulate through your system and cause body-wide inflammation. Pardon me. So one of the first things we're going to talk about in this video is not a probiotic bacteria. It doesn't have anything to do with culturing your gut. It has to deal with the most important thing to do first is just to stop the influx of bad things from going through your gut wall by repairing that fishing net, repairing that lining that's supposed to catch the bad things and only let nutrients pass through. That's your gut lining's job. It's supposed to be selectively absorbable. So it will allow nutrients, vitamins, minerals, healthy things that your body needs to pass through your wall, the gut wall, once it's been digested. But it should pass harmful toxins and big proteins and some of our waste products out of the body. the best way to repair your gut lining is to do bone broth. Now, I will tell you, the best way to do bone broth is to make it yourself from home. And there are so many recipes on the internet, on my website you can go to. You can use a whole chicken. You can use the leg bones from a cow, what are called soup bones, where if you look in the middle of that bone, you'll see the marrow there. And if we go back to really the history of bone broth, when you think about the last time you were sick with like a cold or a flu or something, and you think just about a cup of grandma's chicken noodle soup and how good that would taste for you. Well, actually, soups and stews used to really heal our bodies before 100 years ago or more, when people used to make them completely different. Because it might sound gross to us today, but they would use the whole animal. They would put the bones in there, and the organs, and the meat, and the tendons, and all the stuff that the whole animal they would use that breaks down into collagen, gelatin, and amino acids that your gut needs, and also every cell in your body needs to heal itself. So I always use this example for my patients too. Women are marketed so much for anti-aging things out there. Look younger, creams, lotions, skin, hair, nails, all that type of stuff. The best thing you can do for younger looking skin, for thicker hair and nails, is to start getting more bone broth into your diet. So it's full of good collagen that your body can use immediately. Now, I would recommend making it from home, probably starting with a whole chicken. That's probably the best way to go first. And I might do a whole separate video just on bone broth. But if you're going to buy it in a store, you want to find an organic bone broth that's made from the bones of chicken, cow, turkey, fish. You know, it's just a healthy organic animal. I've never seen it before, but I wouldn't recommend using pork bones. We don't eat pork in our programs anyway, so avoid that animal there. You want to find, you can't read this here, but you want to find a bone broth on your shelf that is organic, free range, wild caught, grass fed, some of those good buzzwords for the animals there. Free range if it's chicken, grass fed if it's beef. And then it just has very limited ingredients. It should not have a long laundry list of ingredients there. If you're going to buy it, Pacific is a good brand. Imagine is a good brand that I use. Epic is another good brand. If we buy it, those are some of the brands. And, you know, starting out, you might want to drink 2 coffee mugs of this per day. If you have something like an autoimmune or a GI issue, increase it until your symptoms start to go away. So, and we'll do this for maybe about 3 months at a time. So, the first product here, the bone broth, is not itself a probiotic, but is a major step, is a very important step in healing your gut. Until you fix your gut lining, simply taking probiotic bacteria, it may help you, but it's not going to have as much of an effect until we fix the inflammation in the leaky gut first. So, and this is a whole other topic altogether. I am doing a video on this because actually this is one of my favorite things to talk about too. But fasting is one of the best ways to heal your gut. I mean, I'm talking about healing your gut lining, killing off bad bacteria and candida in your gut. Fasting is probably like the best way to kick off a good gut healing protocol. But once we're through that, or even if you're not up for a fast, definitely incorporate bone broth into your diet. This is the Pacific brand that we have here. All right, let's talk about some of the next probiotic foods now that we're going to use to start reculturing our gut with the right types of bacteria. So the bone broth fixes your gut lining. Now we want to reculture, or what I call re-inoculate your gut with the right types of healthy bacteria, probiotic bacteria. The studies are showing that these bacteria, they're not just for you to break down your food. You know, they're for your brain to function better. Your brain needs things called neurotransmitters to function good, to feel happy, to not have depression. Well, you know, some of the best sources of neurotransmitters are probiotic bacteria in your gut. In fact, people who take like depression medications, that only influences about 10% of neurotransmitter production. 90% is in your gut. I was just reading a book by Stephen Gundry called The Plant Paradox, where he said in the 1930s, this might sound totally gross, but they would go in and take people who were the most depressed people in mental institutions, and they would give them a fecal enema from happy people. They would take the stool from happy people, put it into an enema, and then inject this into the sick people, the depressed people, and they would become happy. That's because your gut bacteria influences your brain. We have sayings like, I'm worried sick, or I'm sick to my stomach. And we realize that if your mental state absolutely affects your gut. If you're about to do a public speaking event, you might get butterflies. If you're going to propose to your wife or your spouse, you may get butterflies there. But it's actually a 2-lane highway where not just your mental state affects your gut, but your gut's health absolutely affects your brain too. And so before I even get into these, let's talk about some of the reasons for why they get this good bacteria into it. Brain's probably the biggest one. Yes, digestion, you'll absolutely break down your food better the more of these probiotic foods you're getting in here right now. They're finding out that all your cellular function, every cell in your body is controlled and influenced and can even communicate with the bacteria in your gut, communicates with the cells of your body. So helping you produce better fat burning hormones, helping you have a better thyroid and overall hormone complex profile. Your immune system, if you're a person who's autoimmune, 90% of your immune system is located in your gut. That means if in an autoimmune disease, that means your immune system is mistakenly attacking the cells of your body. The best way to fix an autoimmune disease is through fasting, first of all, but also by healing your gut. When you heal your gut, it will calm your immune system down again. When you get some of these probiotic bacteria cultures back in there, they will start influencing your immune system to do the right things and back it off from attacking your body. So from brain function to improved energy to weight loss to reversing autoimmune disease, there are so many reasons. We're finding out more every single year how this bacteria, how the bacteria cultures in your gut are so crucial and integral to how your body functions. And so let's talk about, pardon me, let's talk about some of my favorite ones here. There's some beverages that we'll start with first, and this here is called kombucha. Kombucha is a tea. It's really made over in China, some of the Far East countries. They've drank this for over 2,000 years over there. It's a tea, like a black or a green tea, that you put something inside of called a SCOBY. Look it up online. It looks like a slimy pancake. SCOBY stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast, and it ferments for a couple weeks. And what you get is this rich, healthy probiotic fermented tea that is great for giving your body good acids, digestive enzymes, and probiotic bacteria too. When you start with this is sold, at least in Pittsburgh, this is sold a lot of places now. You can find this at Giant Eagle, commercial grocery food stores, some Walmarts and Targets even sell this now. When you buy this, start just with like a third of a bottle at a time. If you drink it the first time and you get some bloating, you're not having a reaction to it, there's a period of like acclimation where your body has to get used to these bacteria, especially if you have candida or an overgrowth of bad bacteria in your gut too. And on that note too, if you do have candida, sometimes it is better to fast first and do the bone broth protocols to kill off the bad bacteria and then add in these probiotic foods too. So just keep that in mind. Kombucha, there are a lot of different companies. I like the GTS, the GT Dave's brand best. There's a lot of different flavors out there. If you come across them, try a few. You might like some more than others, but this is a healthy beverage, and it's also carbonated too. So if you cut pop out of your diet, what we call pop in Pittsburgh, you might call it soda. If you're watching this somewhere else, if you cut that out of your diet and you miss the fizz, that kind of carbonated taste, this will really help to satisfy that too. Another beverage is called Kefir. Now, I covered this in my protein shake video if you watched that at all, but Kefir is a probiotic dairy-based beverage. And so to use this, most kefir, first of all, store-bought, is pasteurized. It's illegal to sell any raw kefir. What my wife and I do, what I have my patients do, is if you buy something called a kefir grain starter kit, and you can buy that from yourfamilyfarm.com if you're in the Pittsburgh or Greensburg area. I think they might even ship nationwide now too, or to most states. But kefir grains, they look like cottage cheese, to tell you the truth. No one even really knows what they are. They're ancient things called kefir grains. They're little squishy balls of healthy bacteria that look like cottage cheese. How to make it from home is you would just put the kefir grains into a mason jar, and then you would take either goat's milk or cow's milk if you're not allergic to it. You would cover over the grains, so you would fill up the mason jar, and then you would let it sit in a dark cupboard for about 2 days. And that healthy bacteria in the kefir grains eats all the lactose in the milk sugar, so there's really no sugar left, but it's like a thickened, not quite as thick as yogurt, but not quite as runny as milk either, healthy probiotic bacteria. I will tell you, of everything we're going to cover today, in my opinion, kefir is the #1 superfood on the planet. So, in all of Earth, kefir is the best one. If you cannot do dairy, they do make water kefir. I've never made it before, but you can come across it or find it online too. Again, if you're in this area, one of my patients watching this in the Greensburg area, there is a group I've heard about called the Kefir Chicks, kefirchicks.com, Google them. I know they commercially make water kefir. So after kombucha, we have kefir. Of all the ones we'll cover today, this is my favorite one. If you have any dairy problems, goat's milk kefir, which is what this is a great way to go too. If you buy it in the store, it will be pasteurized, so you're better off making it from home. But even if you buy a good organic one, that's still an awesome source. You're not doing yourself any harm there. Raw milk in and of itself is actually probiotic too. I mean, some people can't do dairy. If you're autoimmune or have dairy intolerances, go ahead and just maybe omit that from your diet right now. But if you get grass-fed raw milk, that's full of healthy digestive enzymes that you need to break down the proteins in the milk. So most people who are lactose intolerant, it's not that they're allergic to milk, they're allergic to the sterilized dead product that most people are drinking on commercial grocery store shelves. So if we get raw grass-fed milk, it's extremely healthy for you, as long as you're not autoimmune. All right, another beverage. This is from a company called Farmhouse Culture. This is one of my favorite beverages to drink. It's called Gut Shot. Whenever you make like pickles or kimchi or sauerkraut, like we'll talk about next, whenever you ferment vegetables, you usually have to make something called a brine water. It's like distilled or healthy well water, some type of a healthy water source other than just commercial tap water, mixed with sea salt. That's how you're supposed to ferment things. If something is fermented, or not even fermented, if something is just pickled or probiotic with vinegar, it's dead. Vinegar fermentation is not good. You have to use a brine water. So if you go on like your commercial grocery store shelves and you see like regular sauerkraut that's not in like the refrigerated section, it's dead. It's not a probiotic type of a product there. All of the actual true ones, the front of the label will tell you. They're going to tell you this is a probiotic, living, live, fermented, cultured. Those are all the buzzwords you're looking for that will tell you have the right product here. Anyway, back to the gut shots. This company, Farmhouse Culture, they've taken that brine water from fermenting vegetables and they've just bottled it. And it's actually amazing to drink. I have some of my patients do fasting on this. If they can't do a water fast, they can do fasting on water, bone broth, and gut shot. And so we fast on it, and we even just take a couple like sips of it per day too. There's 10 shots per container. I could probably drink one of these things in a couple of days here. So the ginger beet one's awesome. They have a whole lineup. Farmhouse Culture, probably of all the ones we'll talk about today, my personal favorite. And the gut shots taste absolutely amazing, full of all those healthy probiotic bacteria and cultures that have been fermenting with those vegetables, usually for a couple weeks at a time. Apple cider vinegar. I can't tell you enough. If you have digestive issues, especially things like acid reflux, if you're not breaking down your food, if you have malabsorption issues, if you're not producing enough hydrochloric acid in your stomach, apple cider vinegar is one of the best things to start adding daily. Now, you do want to get a live apple cider vinegar. On the label, it will say with the mother, or it will say live or living. Bragg brand is my favorite. It's sold at all health food stores. Whole Foods will sell it too. Maybe even your commercial grocery store. But apple cider vinegar is full of healthy digestive enzymes. It really helps to detoxify your liver, and it alkalizes your body too. Disease thrives in an acidic environment. We want to have an alkaline environment in our body. Apple cider vinegar, even though it is very acidic in and of itself, once you internalize and metabolize it, your body actually turns that around and uses it for alkalizing your system. So anytime you have gut issues, even like candida, taking this on an empty stomach, you can take it with garlic too as another good way to fight candida. But apple cider vinegar, it's very potent. Most people can't take it straight. Dilute it with water, maybe a tablespoon into a cup of water. Drink that back per day. Your digestion will improve. Amazing. We've talked about a lot of beverages so far. Let's talk about some actual foods. The most popular, probably historical fermented food, probiotic food, is sauerkraut. Now this again is that same company as the Gut Shot, Farmhouse Culture. They have awesome tasting sauerkrauts, caraway seed. They have beet flavored ones. They have a horseradish one that I love. This is a dill pickled one that my wife loves to eat here. So they flavor it with other different healthy probiotic vegetables too. If you do a couple forkfuls of this per day, the fiber content will be great for your gut. You're going to notice that bloating goes down when you start adding these fermented foods back in. So Farmhouse Culture. This is Bubby's brand here too. I don't have their sauerkraut with me today. That's also, they're a great brand. I love their pickles here too. But their Bubby's brand sauerkraut or the Farmhouse Culture sauerkraut are my two personal favorites. Like I said, this sauerkraut is totally different than the sauerkraut you would find in the internal aisles of your grocery store. That sauerkraut, if it's not refrigerated, it's dead. It's been heated. Yes, it's still cabbage, so it's still like you're gonna get some fiber from it, but you want it to be a living, live, brine water cultured probiotic sauerkraut. So that's the best way to go. It should have a vent. I don't know if you can see this here, to let gases escape as it begins to ferment. So take this, a couple forkfuls per day is all you're going to need. All right, pickles. You know, I just said before that a lot of vegetables, a lot of things are what are called vinegar fermented. That's not true fermentation. If it's vinegar, it's dead. There's no live bacteria in it. It sterilizes everything. So these pickles, compared to like Vlasic or some of these other commercial brands out there, those are all vinegar. They'll taste the same, but you're not getting any healthy probiotic bacteria from those other brands. And so it is really important that, like I said, Bubby's, Farmhouse Culture, there's other brands too, but you want to see it. See, I don't, you can't read this, but it says no preservatives, no sugar, no vinegar. It's a live probiotic bacteria brine water pickle. So the only ingredients in here are cucumbers, artesian well water, salt, garlic, dill, mustard seed, and spices. And so that's how people used to make pickles before we started commercially using vinegar. When people used to have to jar their food to make it last through winter, this is what they would do. And so their food would begin to pre-digest. You don't just get healthy bacteria from eating pickles and sauerkraut and things like that too. You also get amazing levels of healthy fiber, and they're pre-digested, and it helps your body with digesting foods too. They're full of tons of good digestive enzymes in here as well. So it's a lot easier on your gut to eat these things versus vinegar fermented foods. Finally, the last one here, this is called kimchi. I will tell you, this is extremely potent. We don't even eat that in the office here because it will clear out a room. So when you open this up, if you're around your family, prepare for some comments. Whereas sauerkraut is pretty much only cabbage, and pickles are just like cucumbers. Kimchi is an Asian dish that has it's like a myriad of fermented vegetables. So peppers, onions, leeks, carrots. There's a lot of different, there's another one in here too I can't think of here right now. Ginger, onions. So there's a lot of different fermented vegetables that are combined in this one. That's when it's fermented, it has a really pungent smell to it, but it actually tastes kind of similar to salsa. They have a medium spicy and a mild one too. I like the spicy stuff, so I get the medium. This again sold at Greensburg, Nature's Way. If you're on the other side of Pittsburgh, Sunnybridge Whole Foods. Even if Whole Foods, like the Whole Foods store, doesn't sell this brand, you'll probably find other versions of kimchi there too. Or you could probably go to your local like Oriental store, Asian store, and find this there too. But I love the Sanja's brand. Tastes really good. And the benefit of getting all these in is that not all fermented foods or probiotic foods will give your body the exact same types of bacteria. Diversity is really important. You don't just want sheer quantity. If you're taking sheer quantity of like the same 3 types of bacteria, that's going to lead to something called monoculture, just like one culture overgrowing there. So you don't want that. What's more important is to get diversity. So consume all of these on a weekly basis, even if you don't have them all every day. A couple forkfuls of sauerkraut, a couple forkfuls of kimchi, make a kefir smoothie, drink a kombucha, have some of that apple cider vinegar that we talked about, do a bone broth fast. I'm telling you, if you implement these things, your health, your life will begin to change. Why? Because all disease begins in your gut. So I hope this was helpful. I'll post some links below this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment back to us, or if you want to, if you're interested in becoming a patient, call us here at my office at 724-237-5299. I hope this was helpful, and have a great day.